guys? Welcome to Chasing Pelagics. I'm Jeff, and this is your SoCal fishing forecast for Thursday, June 8th. Quick look at our weather here. We're finally breaking out of this June gloom. Although we got a little bit overcast coming up here Saturday, Sunday, not that big of a deal. We have plenty of sunshine heading our way. And like I said, once that sun pops out, these water temps are going to jump up and the fishing's going to start getting a lot better. And that's exactly what's happening. So quick look at our wind forecast here for the next several days. So we went from that Catalina eddy pattern that we saw pretty much continuous for almost 30 days. And now we're just back to that west light wind and mainly under 12 knots for the next foreseeable future. And this is more of a traditional summertime pattern, as the eddy wind pattern is more of a springtime. So like I said, the season doesn't suck. It just hasn't started yet. So I hope you're ready for it, because it's just starting to really turn on. So, but as you can see here, we got really good wind conditions the next several days. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I got a 2-day trip this weekend, so I will be on the water. I'm not sure if I'll be sleeping, but I will be on the water. All right, we got a lot of things to talk about. And let's go ahead and start with our charts here. Unfortunately, the 8-day temp chart still hasn't filled in. Those clouds are not just giving us a really good firm reading, so it's a little bit blotchy. But you can kind of get the general idea of what's going on here. We still have this warm water flowing up, and you see it's kind of got an edge here and curves up towards San Nicolas Island. And then things are a little bit warmer here on the inside. But yeah, 64, 65. And you can see the front of San Clemente Island here on the lee side. Now this is like 66, 67. So as soon as those water temps jump up, things start to turn on. And that's really what we were looking for. So I know we've been spoiled last year with some really early season fishing. That was pretty good. But overall, this is really just the typical traditional year for at least the way that things are flowing. So we'll start with Channel Islands. Still a little bit of sea bass going on here. Not like how it was last month. Unfortunately, just a couple here and there every day. Not seeing those crazy numbers and crazy jumbos like we were. But overall, still fun fishing. And there's more things headed their way too. So don't count out the Channel Islands just yet. I'd say give another 30 days or so, and things should turn on up there other than sea bass. Moving down south, let's talk about Santa Barbara Island. A little bit of sea bass going on here still. The bite's kind of just off and on, not super consistent. There is some yellows mixed in there as well. The grade has been all over the place. Some days it's like the 30, 40 pound stuff, and then you get occasional jumbo. So just be prepared. You never know what you're going to run into. You know, like I said, this island and white sea bass fishing in general is usually just streaky. You get like 2 weeks on and then 2 weeks off, and that's just the way it goes. So, but usually where you find fish earlier in the year, they tend to hang out and bite again in the same location before they move on. So SPI might be a good place to check out this weekend. San Nick, same thing going on there too. Occasional sea bass bite. Guys are catching yellows in the flats, and also some nice great halibut. And the thing about Nick is it doesn't get fished that often, so usually the quality of fish here, especially when it comes to halibut, is jumbo. And there's been a lot of jumbo fish caught in this area. In particular, I also can verify that myself. So I think the El Dorado might have been out here this week. So keep an eye on what's going on. They still got, decent rock fishing and all that stuff going on too. So you won't completely strike out if for some reason it doesn't bite. Catalina. We've had some pretty interesting fishing going on at Catalina. Things are just starting to wake up here. We didn't really see any good sea bass fishing this year along the east end. It was pretty slow and quiet. But things are starting to perk up just a little bit here. And really it's been at the west end between the west end of the island and Catalina Harbor. Along here there's a couple known places that hold structure. And we've seen occasional sea bass in tight to the island. And then lately a couple of yellows here and there as well. There's been a little bit of boat traffic. Catalina is an island that gets a lot of boat traffic, whether you like it or not. Fishing is good or bad. There's just always boat traffic. So if you find a bite, you might run into a bite, expect traffic, especially this weekend and the turn on of summer as well. Moving south, San Clemente Island, things turned on. A couple guys really hit the yellows good here the last few days. Good grade fish, 20, 25 pounds. Still can find a home guide or two as well. And I haven't heard much lately about the dunes. If anyone's really looked at that area, that's usually the main spots here, traditionally, other than the little ones along the front side. But yeah, Pyramid Cove is still showing some good life. So definitely worth looking at for yellows. But beware, that seal population unfortunately has not decreased. So if you want to do something about that, I'm all for it. Moving further south, Coronado Islands. The water's really cleaned up down here, as I mentioned last week. Unfortunately, no one's really fishing it that well because the offshore game is just way better and doesn't need conditions per se to bite. So no one's really looking at this, but there's been a couple of yellows seen on the weather side of the islands, and obviously no birds can be your telltale sign. Let's talk about offshore fishing. I'm really going to start down south for offshore fishing just to really kind of put a place on this. If you don't follow the guys from Mara's Sport Fishing, they're down here in Ensenada. They fish the lower finger at the Bonnet Bank, which is not labeled on here. And, their range is about 30 miles. So you can draw yourself a nice little circle right here. And anything that they typically catch is going to come from this area. And they have not had trouble catching bluefin at all. You see these guys complaining that, oh, I'm on a sport boat, I can't catch a bluefin during the day, the bite sucked. These guys are fishing only during the daytime. They're pretty much only trolling Mad Max. So, like I said before, if the way you're fishing isn't working, you need to adjust your strategy. So, if the night bite isn't working, they're not biting at night. So you need to adjust your strategy to daytime fishing. They're not always going to bite a fly line sardine. So if they're skittish and they're being shy, troll a Mad Mac, troll a spreader bar, bust out the kite. Believe it or not, we still use those. So use the strategy that's going to work for you and is going to work for the fishing, and just not rely just dropping jigs on fish in the middle of the night. That doesn't always work. So as we come in here, we kind of had the same pattern the last moon cycle, going right into the full moon. Things at night totally turned off, and then the second half they kind of turned back on, and then the daytime fishing was a lot better. So we're kind of seeing the same pattern. Not saying that it's going to happen every time, but always look for patterns in fishing, and usually with that pattern, just try and repeat it and rinse and repeat until it doesn't work anymore. And usually that's fishing in general. So moving further up, we're still seeing a lot of fish in the zone. In fact, there is an atrocity of boat traffic from sport boats in this area between the 425, I'll say, to the border, and even further down to the upper hidden. There's been a plethora of sport boats fishing, particularly just this area, on repeat, and these fish are getting run over and also not wanting to bite when you have a bunch of boat traffic. So when you have that much fishing pressure, a bite that's changing that isn't correlated to sport boats, you can't expect the same results trip after trip. So I don't always go by what sport boats say for their fish counts because it depends on what you're fishing or how you're fishing. So don't be just an internet fisherman. Sometimes you just got to go and see what's going on. So fish in this area lately have been on the smaller side, 20 to 50 on the schoolie size. They've been seeing some bigger ones down here in Ensenada, and I haven't seen a day where they really haven't caught any fish. It's been pretty much every day. So the guys down here from Mara's are doing their thing, and they're doing it well. And they showed up everybody last year, and they're looking pretty strong this year too. So don't count out those guys. Moving further up the line, we're not really seeing a lot of fish on the west side here. Like the West Butterfly, East Butterfly, 60 Mile. You see it's kind of in this cooler water still, and they're just not hanging out there. We saw a little bit of fish come here down to the 381, the Condom Bank, probably 2 weeks ago, and they've kind of fallen back some. And we've seen a couple sporadic looks behind the island here as well. Not a lot of fish in that area, but don't be surprised. I mean, you can never count out tuna around San Clemente Island anytime during the season. They're pretty much just always around working these hard edges of the line. I also told you last week to check out the 289 area, and this is always fishy. And sure enough, we're seeing pretty good volume work its way up here. And it looks like an almost exact repeat of last year. We had a lot of volume of fish come up here into this channel. And let me switch here to the bottom details so you can see what I'm talking about. But last year we had fish piled up all along the slide, all the way around to SBI, to the Osborne, even over the top here of this ridge, and a little bit over here on the 7-Eleven. And that's exactly what's happening in the last 7 days. We've had a lot of fish move up over here. Some are even seen in between Nick and SBI, past the Osborne, and likely those fish are going to move up here towards the Channel Islands. But I wouldn't say it's going to happen that fast. Maybe give it a couple weeks. But right now we have a new biomass of fish in this area in particular. It seems to be, like I said, just like last year, which attracted a lot of private boaters. So give you guys yourself some room out there. Don't get too crowded. You're probably going to see some guys from San Diego start heading up this way to fish with the guys that normally fish this area. So, but all in all, again, always adjust your strategy to what's working. Don't just fish what's the latest, hottest trend. Don't get me wrong. Jigging's fun. Sinker rigs are fun. Kites are fun. Mad Max are fun. Just adjust your strategy to what the bite is telling you. So, as far as signs, these fish have been on the run. We're not seeing a lot of foam. We're seeing a lot of breezers. So what is that? It's fish just below the surface. They give that weird like wind ripple on the water. And they're just swimming underneath it. You've seen some pics from Air Pilikia that we've been sharing of videos of them swimming. They're right below the surface. And when you see what looks like wind chop going the wrong direction against the wind, that's a pile of fish. So they're going to be skittish. They're moving around. They're not settled in yet. When these things settle in, they really bite hard. But right now, they're still kind of on the move. So getting close to them is going to be tough. And that's why I'm really highly suggesting using the kite, spreader bars, or trolling Mad Max pretty far back. And then also something else that I'm going to be trying a lot more this year is trolling bullet-style skirted lures. They're really effective for bluefin all around the world. No one really trolls them here. I don't know. They don't like to troll them, or they're scared of trying something new. But I'm always trying something new, just to see if it'll work. Because a lot of times, what works around the world also works here. Hence, speed jigging, night jigging, all worked in Asia, and here we are, realizing that we can fish it the same way too. And just remember that 4 or 5 years ago, you had all these people saying that bluefin don't bite on the troll. Well, looks like that was wrong. So always adjust, try new things, and yeah, be safe out there. Should be a nice weekend out there on the water. And yeah, cheers guys. Have a good weekend. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out our website and online store at chasingpelagics.com. And make sure you share the stoke.